Hello, everybody, and welcome to Unconventional GMs, the channel where we play games fast, pacey, one-shots mostly, a few little short campaigns, showing that you can get a fun-packed session in a mere 2 hours. Today, we're playing Brindlewood Bay, a game of mysterious investigations. Our two expert players will be playing widowed elderly ladies on a coach trip to the Peak District, who are going to encounter strange goings on and try and piece together and solve the mystery of Dress to Kill. This is a published mystery. This is in the Brindlewood Bay supplement Nephews in Peril. So hat tip to David Morrison for writing it. And obviously, I've adapted it quite a bit to make it fit into the 2 hours. So hope you enjoy it and check it out. And hope you see what the game is like. And remember to like and subscribe for lots more games like this. I'm Guy from Unconventional GMs. The other half of Unconventional GMs, I'm going to ask now to introduce himself and the character that he's playing. Over to you, Gaz.
Hello, I'm Gaz. I am indeed half an Unconventional GM and half of What Would the Smart Party Do, the UK's premier RPG podcast, which you should all go away and listen to. Today, I'm going to be playing Valerie Dalrymple, a redoubtable old lady. She's quite chunky, in rude health, rosy cheeks, although there are some veins breaking across her face and such. She's always slightly filthy. She loves being outdoors, gardening, and will wax lyrical about her petunias or begonias or whatever it happens to be at this time of year that's particularly in season. She's got many layers on because she's used to being outside, big green Wellington boots, a nice gilet with pockets full of seeds and secateurs and other interesting things that she might have about herself. And, well, a day out in the Peak District sounds capital. That's exactly the sort of thing she'd like to do. And maybe she'll get some cuttings to bring home with her.
Excellent, fantastic. I'm looking forward to listening to your to witness Gaz's horticultural knowledge as he improvises many of that. Please let us know in the comments how he does. Secondly, Alina, do you want to introduce yourself and tell us who you are playing?
Thank you. I am Elena, and I will be playing Edith Harris. Edith is an old lady who is quite frail. She is wearing very old-fashioned clothes that were never fashionable, but they belong in the 80s, early 80s. Baggy sort of jackets, cardigans, skirts, and lots of pastels. She has a dog called Trevor. She loves her dog, and it's a spaniel. And the one thing that is very vivacious about her are her eyes, in particular when she's in the park doing her favorite knitting and checking out who is coming and going.
Lovely, lovely, exciting to me, Edith, and of course Trevor. We'll see if how successful Trevor is and whether Alina's really playing Edith or really playing Trevor with Edith as the companion, as is always the way with these things. So we'll get started. As I say, this is a mystery. It is a horror game, and you should put a little content warning at the front. This does deal with a missing child. So if that's not your taste, that's the warning. Feel free to look away now. We'll have lots of other videos you can watch and see there. It being Brindlewood Bay, we don't actually know what's happened to this child. Like, the players don't know, and I don't know either. So we can't be any more specific with the content warning at this stage. But we will start. So as I say, our two protagonists, our two mavens, Valerie and Edith, have gone on a coach trip and have arrived in the Peak District in England. Surrounded, it's between Manchester, Leeds and Sheffield, hilly and rocky, deep valleys with control lines of transportation and development, valleys set with villages, houses built from local stone, but largely a rural area and a kind of place one could wander off and get lost on the moors quite easily, even within half an hour of wandering out of one of the villages. One such village that you arrive in is Nemesley. It's penned in by a valley. There's fast-flowing streams running down it. It is, as we start, the summer solstice, and the well-dressing season is in full swing. An old Derbyshire tradition of decorating the village well or spring with flowers. including a large mural made with flower petals as a centerpiece. Some would trace its origins as far back, a pagan worship of river goddesses. But in these days, it's just a harmless tradition that these villagers carry out, and it's largely run by the sort of parish churches, and it always attracts lots of tourists, such as Valerie and Edith. However, this year, while Nemesley is experiencing a little influx of visitors to see the decoration, a child has disappeared. 12-year-old Ash Thurcroft has been reported missing, and a search has begun. What I'm going to do now is something called a paint the scene question, where I ask a question of one or both of my players, and they can answer it, and we just get a bit of background, but they get to input into it as well. So you've been drawn to Nemesley after you received a letter from an old friend. I think I'm going to ask this actually of Gaz. Valerie, who do you know that lives near Nemesley? And in their letter, what strange occurrences did they mention that made you think maybe supernatural forces are afoot?
Well, my good friend, I always told her not to marry a vicar, but she didn't listen to me, and married the Reverend Nicholas Wells, and it's him that survived her. Yes, and I got a letter from him, as I do get Christmas card and birthdays. That's how we keep in touch. But I usually got a letter from him, and he was suggesting there was something uncommonly wrong with the vegetables and flowers of the region, because it was coming to that time to decorate the wells and such, and nobody was getting the beautiful blooms that they would expect. There was weird inky spots on them, or things were wilting and dying too soon. And given my horticultural knowledge, he suggested I might pay a visit and help him, or the villagers, his parishioners, decide what was wrong, what was happening. But yeah, there was nothing they could find in the normal natural ways. They'd use the right fertilizer and all organic means, all that kind of stuff, and it was baffling everyone. So he suggests that maybe there's something that, from my strange mysteries, I might be able to uncover.
Fantastic, fantastic. So you've roped Edith along to come to Nemesley to see. You've arrived as part of a senior citizens coach tour, and as you get off the coach, we see a quaint little village of stone houses, bunting strung down the street, floral decorations everywhere. But as you're sort of stepping down the street, I think you must have the air of people who look to be curious and emotion. And a panicked woman approaches you and says, "Oh, can you help? My daughter has gone missing. I've heard of you two. You're the mavens. You were on the news. You solved that murder, didn't you? You could help, you two, couldn't you? My daughter Ash has just gone missing. They're sending out a search party soon, but no one seems to be able to find her. Won't you please help me find her? I just know she's still alive."
Of course, we'll help you. I mean, Edith is really chuffed that she's quite famous.
There's a cutting, but yeah.
We have never not solved the case. Not saying that this is her second case.
Oh, so you'll definitely find Ash. Oh, that's brilliant. So, Elena, Edith this is another paint the scene question, by the way. Edith is certain that Ash is still alive. From whatever method in your gut you have. Why are you so sure that Ash is still alive? What sign do you have?
So Edith is the widow of a police sheriff, and she has heard about cases. She's been nosing around his files. She knows that when somebody goes missing, the first 48 hours are the most crucial time. But if nothing has happened until then, it's she's confident they can find it. But speed is of the essence.
Excellent. And Lindsay, in fact, introduces you to some. She says that Ash went missing yesterday evening, and they've been panicking around. They thought she just wouldn't come home, but they're going to look for her. The village are sending out a search party later on. The police are sort of making inquiries and stuff. So to set the scene, you've got to answer a question, which is, where is Ash being held? Now, mysteries in Brindlewood Bay have a complexity. I'm going to set this at complexity 4. So that affects when you finally try and solve it. That's the penalty that you'll have to your solution. You'll add as many clues as you can. I'm also going to add, because I mean everyone's a suspect, Lindsay Thurcroft as a potential suspect, just as a little list of NPCs that are there, as someone you might have met from there. So she says, "Oh, I'm so glad you're able to help. We've been beside ourselves, and it's really taking the edge off this wonderful tradition that we have here. And please, I hope you have time to enjoy the festivities after we found my daughter."
So when did you last see Ash?
Well, she just didn't come home last night. That was the only. We thought she was staying with friends, but then we didn't know. We didn't hear anything. And then this morning she didn't show up. So that's when we went to the police.
Well, I think we need to speak to some of these friends. I'll roll up my sleeves, revealing meaty forearms, heavily haired. So as well, these young people, she might not mention that they go to strange places, and they'll be called things like Devil's Quarry or the Angel's Drop, and they'll be dangerous places that they shouldn't go to, but young people, they can't help themselves, and they might even drink cider. Now, I'm sure your little angel did nothing of the sort, but maybe some older, badder kids have teased her away to somewhere where she shouldn't have been. So I don't know about you, Edith, but I think we should go and find some of the youngsters of the village and interrogate them on their hangouts and what they might have seen.
Yes, and also we should go and speak to the police. They will brief us on their case, of course.
Oh, the police.
Oh, don't diss the police.
Don't start this again.
You will find her though, won't you? You will find her. Still stood in front of you while this bickering begins.
Yes, of course.
So just to paint the scene a little bit about where you are in the village, yeah, you can certainly go. It's quite self-directed here. There is a search party that's going to be going out in maybe within the hour or so. So that's an option to join that. There is a police station there as well that you can go to and talk to. There's the Green Man pub. There's a church in the village. There's all the kind of things that you would expect to see in a Derbyshire village. If there's anything that I haven't said, feel free to make it up and pursue your investigations forthwith. Are you going together to the children first or the police first? Or are you splitting up and both doing one?
What do you think, Edith? Do we normally split up or do we stick together?
I think we split up. You go to the kids,
youngsters.
To the youngsters, and I'll go to the police and maybe steal something.
Well, we'll meet in the pub afterwards. So something.
Excellent. Just time for a bag of crisps before the search party sets up.
Yeah, exactly.
Excellent. So, in fact, just as you discover this, a group of sort of young teenagers, all wearing flower crowns, sort of scamper by and go to sort of hang out by the well, sort of pushing and messing around with each other. There's about sort of 4 or 5 of them that are just, and you notice that they're playing by the well. They're sort of away from any sort of direct adult supervision whatsoever, and they don't seem hugely concerned at the disappearance of Ash, but they seem to be about the age of what Lindsay told you, as they're playing by the well.
Well, I'll head over and similar to say, like, careful, you shouldn't mess about. Anyone could fall in the well. I'll be pushing one more or less into the well so they get splashed.
So what
See, I told you. What are you messing about? Like bodily pick things up and like half hold them out. Stand with my hands on my hips planted.
What? Who are you? Who are you?
Well, never mind who I am. Who are you? That's the question. I'll stick a big dirty meaty finger in the face. And you know better than to speak to your elders.
And there's a sort of there's a sideways glance from them as they weigh up, speaking to this stranger lady, or sort of shouting stranger danger and running away. So as you attempt to sort of get them to open up to you through bluster, I think we've probably got a day move actually. Okay. This isn't hugely risky, but it's slightly risky in terms of what you could bring down upon you. What are you afraid will happen if you fail or lose your nerve?
I think all I'm really worried about if I fail is that they'll clam up or they'll disappear. Like we'll lose a source of information. Yeah.
Yeah, that seems reasonable. Do you want to roll with presence then? That's probably the stat for it.
Try. 5.
5. Okay. One of them. So what happens is that they sort of look at each other, and one of the smaller ones at the back buckles first and says, "Police, police! This mad old woman tried to throw me into the well. This mad old woman, look at her. She's weird. Stranger danger, strange." And a huge commotion starts. And like police arrive, and it's all. And you are, I think, in all this fuss, there's the cold metal of handcuffs being put on you. Now, in Brindlewood Bay, there is a mechanic called a crown, which means that you can boost your results. So if something happens, if you roll a miss or a fail, and you don't want it to happen, what you can do is you can put on a Crown of the Queen and narrate a little flashback, and then we rewind and run the scene as if you'd rolled the next highest result, which would be a 7 to 9, a near miss. And I mean, it's your choice whether you do it, but it's up to you. We also we play out what would happen, and then we rewind, so we see the sort of branching lines from there.
So we go back to a flashback scene of a much younger lady who was with Edith when she was with her husband when he was still around, and he was doing the whole thing with putting handcuffs on to pretend to goggle and pretend to arrest me and see what it is, and he was a bit too rambunctious. Like quite badly twisted Valerie's arm, and not to the point of breaking it, but she shrieked out and cried, and she gets a kind of flashback to that. So as someone's trying to like arrest her and put a cuff on, her old lady arm makes a horrible clicking sound as the joint pops. She goes, "Oh, my arm! Oh, police brutality! Oh, why would you do this to me?" And like she performatively collapses to the ground, like little tears coming in her eyes, even though she's quite a robust lady, and makes a massive meal out of it. "Oh, my hip! Oh, the soft, slippy rocks! Oh, why are you hurting me so much?" And basically gets these sort of everybody else around to kind of like, you say like, "Well, what? Come on, calm down. Something, old lady."
Okay, so that's lovely. I love it. How it works is we actually go back in time and replay the scene differently in the actual game. Let's go with that though, because I like what you did. So yeah, you collapse. There's a big. The police sort of back off. I think there's a few of. I think maybe some of the kids can see, like all the adults are taken in by this, but a few of the kids are like giggling and thinking this is actually hilarious. And I don't know, maybe a little sly wink from Valerie. If you're up for it, we'll just get them on side, and they're like kind of, "Oh, we'll walk you and get you checked out to the first aid thing." As they're one of them's the one that you tried to push in the well is like laughing his head off now as soon as the adults go away. And that was so funny. Did you see Sergeant Onslow's face when he thought he'd broken your arm? That was hilarious. So good, so good. You're a cut, and you've won them over now. These people, you can see though that as you sort of get up and walk off, there's a not Sergeant Onslow, but there's a DC that's arrived who was nearby on a walking holiday, who's now involved in the investigation, is watching very carefully at your new relationship with the kids. And so I'm going to actually give you a condition from this. So conditions come into play when they're relevant, and they give you disadvantage on the role that you're doing. The condition is going to be under suspicion, because the police think that, well, while some of them are won over, certainly DC Akinde is thinking there's something not quite right about this weird old woman. But the kids, oh, it was so funny. So what are you doing in the village? Have you just come to see the flowers?
Oh, I love a good flower me, yes. All that kind of stuff, all the lovely blooms. But that I do like a bit of gossip as well. Someone was telling me that Ash has gone missing. Do you play? Have you got a secret place you go to? Could you be hiding nearby?
A secret place? Oh, of course not. Of course we don't.
You must have a base, a camp. I used to have one. I've got one now. Me and Edith had one that we share with Trevor sometimes. We're keeping dog biscuits there.
So, okay. Yeah, we can show you where we hang out, and they start taking you off to the wreck. I'm going to make you roll a meddling move in a minute to maybe get a clue from them and see if their base actually has got a clue at it. We're just going to cut back though to the police station now. As let's do it sort of at the same time. So as Sergeant Onslow is returning back from this momentary excitement, disappointed and a bit sheepish that he's just tried to cuff an old lady, who's then collapsed and seemed to be very good. He's sort of mid-40s, muscly man with a quite hefty beer gut. He's obviously invested in a lot, and very much the sort of local policeman. So he's tutting away about, oh, those kids always get in trouble. Ridiculous. Oh, can I help you, young lady?
So Edith will be sitting at the, in a comfortable, sort of bench, just inside the, the entrance of the police station, knitting her thing and just looking around and listening to what's happening, which is not very much. And so she perks up and is like, oh, yes. Oh, very nice. I wanted to find out what you know about the disappearance of this young girl, Ash.
It's not, well, it's no, well, we'll be sending out a search party later. I mean, it's all based on. I mean, it's all under control. We'll probably just wandered off into the moors or something. Search party. You know what kids are like. You know what kids are like.
Well, what are they like? What was she like? You know her.
This sounds like a move, because it sounds like you're trying to gather some information here. So do you want to make the meddling move? I think this is probably with presence, how you're narrating it. So if you want to roll 2 dice and add your presence.
Very good. Oops. Oh. I need to. Sorry, I'm trying to. Just give me a second.
So it's suspenseful. He's going, oh, I don't know. He's thinking. He's, oh, I don't. Whether he can give you anything from that, he's not sure.
So this is a 7, just by the skin of my teeth.
Okay, so that means you are going to find a clue, but you're going to find a complication while you're searching it. So that will be where I am. And I think Onzo says, oh yeah, you know what they're like, kids. They're always messing around, always running around the moors, always getting nowhere, and get up to no good at all. You should see some of the daft stuff they're doing. And but anyway, I'm sure she'll turn up. Look at that. And as he walks, he sort of knocks past a clearly sort of labeled bit of evidence, and it's sort of a candelabra thing with some melted candles with like hair all matted inside them. You think probably looks like human hair.
Is it the object or a photo of it?
It's the actual object that he says, oh, I need to file that away. Only found that yesterday. Don't mind me.
Where did you find it? That's like human. No, is it?
Oh, it's not human, just a joke, isn't it? It's all right. And he pulls it away and takes it down from there. He says,
young man, I know human hair when I see human hair. Just because I don't have much hair anymore does not mean I cannot see it. This is something you need to be investigating.
He says, and he sort of pulls himself to his height with his beard up and puts this thing down and says, now, and we are. Now, we've got a search party coming if you want to make yourself useful, although these moors are quite treacherous, no offence. You and your little sniffer dog could maybe come and join us on that this afternoon if you wanted, and that might persuade me that your intentions are entirely honest and you just want the best for this young girl. But just be careful poking your nose into police business. So you've got a clue, which is so clues in Brindlewood Bay are fairly what's the word, open to interpretation and sort of deliberately loose. So later on, when you theorize, you might add some more details to this these half melted candles with human hair inside. But because you found it in the course of this investigation, you will, of course, know that it is going to be relevant. Okay, sorry, I'll just get that so we can size it. Lovely. So yeah, and he sort of at that point sort of bundles you out and goes to file his thing. Okay. Meanwhile, back at the wreck, you're being taken and shown this like secret den by the kids as they try and point out to you all the flowers that are around and the like. Those my mum tells me not to eat those mushrooms. I did it once. I got a really big headache and all of that kind of thing. Do you want to make your meddling move? How are you trying to get them to share what they know?
Yeah, well, I'll be going about, oh, yeah, when I was a girl, we used to share everything. And I'll crack out my tin I've got of Grasmere gingerbread that I brought especially for these occasions. So I've been doing the wax paper, going, oh, it's really tasty, is this? I mean, if you had some stuff to share, maybe I could share some of this. Oh, nom, 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 nom. But like, I mean, maybe I'll have to eat it all myself. I feel a bit sick.
There's just searching, half-eaten packets of Monster Munch instead of being like proffered towards you and stuff. Yeah, make your roll with advantage there. It's probably presents, isn't it? Still
presents
for this.
Well, I've managed to roll 3 ones, so I'll pick the first and the last one out of those, I think.
Okay. I'm gonna make this. I think this is a chance for us to make it a proper sort of hard move. So where you are in the wreck, there's lots of little streams and tributaries through Nemesley. The wreck has a stream running at one side. As you proffer the gingerbread and the kids are like kind of finding you Monster Munch and stuff, we see from a sort of a distance, there's a stream nearby that runs alongside the little covered area that they hang out in, and we see the pondweed from there just snake towards you, and a frond of it wrap around Valerie's leg as you are lured into the river by this. I'm going to ask you guys to make a roll with vitality to try and fight off this weed.
This, do I go early?
The garden is attacking.
It's my special move is called Seavers. So once per session, I can take a 12+ and roll related to wild or daring physical feat. So I'm going to trigger that and say that although it pulls me towards the water and I'm half splashing about, I'm used to pulling up Japanese knotweed and other such stuff. So while Edith may have been subsumed by the morass, I'm in my element, and a little trowel comes out from one of our pockets. You know, I'll be having none of that. And before you know it, I'm taking out big clumps out of the ground, and I'm like, with my wellies squidged back up to a more dry area, and go like, oh, I slipped down there. It almost felt like it was dragging me down there. How weird. As I throw some of this horrible weed away.
As the kids are like, there's like a box full of crumbs now. Yeah. And they're all like, are you okay?
Well, no, thanks to you. We're not very gentlemanly, are we? Well, I do hope you've got something to share, maybe some information or something about what's going on around here.
They say, oh, I worried you'd fall in. If you fall through there, you can fall all the way down there into the caves.
Ooh, caves.
Into the caves. Yeah, the Devil's Wash House, they call it. They're all under Nemesley. But don't tell anyone. You can see that there's actually a sort of crawl space really hidden away under all these weeds going through the stream that you could get in. He says nobody else knows about that way in. So you have found, let me get this exactly right, hidden entrance to the cave system.
Devil's back entrance. Crawling in there.
Yeah. We have got an X card in play, so let's remember that. If we need to say you found a hidden entrance to the cave system, as you on a 12+ on that special move, you get a clue as well. And you've managed to also survive, and you're not like half drowned or bedraggled or anything by that. So gingerbread eaten, they're able to sort of pack you back on your way. And I don't know, maybe now's the time you meet back at the pub.
Yeah.
I imagine that's where their search party is going to meet, isn't it?
Yeah, they're going to meet outside the pub. So yeah, you could meet there. So do you want to just are you sat outside? You probably arrive about the same time for the two things you've been doing. Do you want to just like role play a bit what you found out? Share your knowledge.
Yeah. So I will be having tea and scones.
Oh, lovely. I'll come up with my dirty fingers full of bits of knotweed and riverside muck. grab myself a nice, delicious scone.
Every time, Valerie. What happened to you?
That's all roughage. It's all right. Well, I've been messing around outside there. Let me tell you about this. There's some very strange weed in parts and bits of it that seems to like curl and almost like a worm crawling on the side of the table. There's a very strange vegetation here. Let me tell you about how it grows. And I want to try and make my cozy move at this point, and I'm going to go into great detail talking about the life cycle of weed on riverbanks. And although I know that Edith won't care about it, if I could share an intimate moment with her, like she indulges me with my like rambling talk of different Latin names and so forth, that might help me clear my condition that I've had from earlier.
Okay, so how it works is Edith, you can do one of these things. Valerie, you can do two of these things. The three options are: you can ask the other player a question about their maven, which they must answer truthfully and completely. You can get them to agree on a course of action, or you can clear an appropriate condition, and you can choose that twice. If it's your cozy activity, so Valerie, you also have, instead of choosing two of those, what you can do is stumble on a clue relevant to the mystery. And this is a clue that you can make up yourself how it happens.
I'm a bit... No, it's too soon for all that, I think.
Early doors, yeah.
Yeah. So I'll need more context from other clues, I think, to make an appropriate one. So, yeah, I'm going to clear a condition. And then... I just need to ask Edith the question. So after I've finished my big, long talk about it, and the groups are starting to organise and go off, I'll sort of put a little hand on this smaller, gentler hand, leaving a grimy mark behind, obviously. So Edith, I know you like sitting on a bench and watching people, but do you not get lonely? Do you not think it's about time you find another companion? I mean, what's going to happen to you when I'm not around anymore?
Well, are you going somewhere, Valerie?
Well, we've got to appreciate that with these activities we take in, the physical ones, that something I slipped and I had a fall. We're at that age now; we have a fall all the time. What if I drowned? What would have happened? Who's looked after you? You can't just rely on me all the time. Who is it that's going to look after you? Do you not think you should find someone to look after you if and when I'm not here?
Well, I have Trevor, and you are not going anywhere, and it's your responsibility not to drown. It's not easy to find someone like Trevor, the real one, my husband. When he died, it took me a while, and then you were there, and then I got dog Trevor. But actually, I can't lose more people, so just be careful. That's your responsibility as my friend.
Right. And I'll look at the aging Trevor. Mentally do a calculation about which one's going to live longer. Well, you've got Trevor, I suppose. Yeah.
Trevor struggles to like bite on a scone with his old teeth. Yeah.
Gives it a good gumming.
Poignant moment. He's not going anywhere, is he?
All right, let's both be more careful on this little trip then, because it is quite dangerous.
Excellent. So Edith, I don't think you've got any conditions, have you yet?
No, I don't.
But you can, if you want to, you can get Valerie to agree on a course of action if you've got a particular one you like to do. Or you could ask Valerie a question in return about her maven that she has to answer truthfully. Or you could hold that, if you see what I mean, and use it later.
Yeah.
That's probably
I'll hold it and use it. I'll hold it.
Use what it's okay. Excellent. So just as you're doing it, the policemen come out. So Sergeant Onslow we've already met, and DC Akindi is you hear from the sort of hubbub of the 5 or 6 other villagers who've been assembled to form this search party. That DC Akinde was just on a hiking holiday in a village nearby, and has obviously attached himself now to this local investigation. You notice, particularly Valerie, that he is wearing very high quality and brand spanking new hiking gear that has never really seen any use, but he's fully on. He's fully like dressed up and ready to go here, looking like sort of all the gear. Who knows if he has an idea or not? And he blows a whistle and gives a brief idea. It says, "Oh, we're going to go up out the north path, go on a bearing of about 030 degrees, spread out, and just try and cover as much of the moor to the north as we can. Don't go further than the standing stones. We'll come back and see it. We're not just looking for the girl, but any sort of clues. We do it, and make sure if you find anything, just call us over. Call myself or me or Sergeant Onslow, yes, over, and we can deal with it. Don't interfere with any evidence, and just stay safe out there. It's danger, and yeah, probably best if you two stay here with your scones and do it, because it can be quite windy up there."
No, it's not. It's Thursday. I shout.
He says, "Oh, no, windy. I mean, it's quite treacherous."
Oh, I thought you said it was Wednesday. Sorry, that's the.
We'll be fine. We need to take Trevor for his walk anyway. We won't be any bother, and
Yeah, we'll just go for a nice walk. Yeah,
it's okay. You will not slow us down.
Okay, but just don't do anything foolish. And you can see him coming, and Sergeant Onslow is like nodding because he agreed that you'd come on it before. And indeed, you can set off.
Can I have an item from Ash, like from the mother or something, like a piece of clothing, so that Trevor can smell and sniff
like
and
that. Yeah,
follow
yeah.
the scent.
Yeah, Lindsay brings you a little sort of I don't know, a sock or something. I don't know, an item of clothing that Trevor could. And I think we have a little scene where Trevor's completely disinterested in it, tries to eat it. Doesn't really, like, gives no indication of getting, wanders off and has a bit more scone, is sniffing someone else's socks. But Edith, that he's got the scent. He's got the scent now of Ash. And you can
he's old too. He needs his time and his comfort.
Lovely. And
let's not rush in.
Yeah. And you can set off on the in the search party. The first place that you go as you go out of the north path, I should say, is dangerous. So now we're out of the village. A lot of the time it's going to be the night move that you'd be rolling if you're trying to do anything, which is a bit more dangerous. And you make your way out. There's sort of one last farmhouse on the way out. It's a bit out of the village and is a bit sort of isolated. But it's like the last step before it. And as you sort of make your way out, you see the rest of the villagers sort of not even glancing at it or paying any mind to anyone in the house. But you see there is a little old lady stood in the yard, dressed sort of like a raven, that kind of black but bits of twigs, but now just looking really mean at everyone as they go back and tutting. And as they go past, she just shouts, just when she thinks Sergeant Onslow is maybe far enough out that he's not going to come back and say anything, just says, "Little uns should know better and go up to the peaks at solstice. They learn nought for all their shit. It's up to fate now. They learn nought."
Okay, I'm presuming we're like towards the back of the.
Yeah. You're right at the back. I think
yeah.
they're trying to, yeah.
As people have strode off or whatever. I'll make sure it's not looking. Then give Trevor a little kick in the direction of the old lady, so he kind of like starts running off in that direction. I'm like, "Oh no, Trevor, come back! Where are you going?" No, he's always running off. And like obviously this like causes Trevor to run faster as I'm like running after him, but I'll sort of chase him in the direction of the old woman so they can get over to this raven lady and maybe have some kind of. Don't worry, Edith, I'll get him. Come on, quick, follow me.
Okay,
I'll follow around slowly.
He says, "Oh, what you do? I don't want. I can't have dogs. I can't have dogs on my ground. Can't have dogs on my ground. On here."
What's that? It's all right. It's all right. And I'll pick the Trevor up and hand him back to Edith as she basically totters over. So he's all right. He's Trevor, isn't he? There he is. He's all right now. Just had a bit of a scare. What's your name, madam?
What's it to you? I'm Gamma Greenoff. I don't have to tell you though, do I?
No, you're right.
You're not from round here. He says, a Derbyshire accent changing slightly, as you can expect. You're not from round here, are you?
Oh no.
We're from very far away. But you seem to know a lot about this place.
I know everything about this place. Do they listen to me though? Do the Eckers like?
Oh, young people these days.
Do they ever listen to us? That's because we're old. They think we're lost. We've lost it. We've lost our marbles. They never. These youngsters, like this young man, the sheriff, of this town? What's his name?
Onslow.
Yeah.
He's a fat oaf, isn't he?
Does
No
he
good
listen?
at all.
So why do people not go on somewhere in the solstice?
And he does nothing. He does nothing. Them kids chucking eggs at my farm, saying I'm a witch, calling me all sorts of things.
Are you sure they said witch?
No respect. I think it was that. I think it was witch. I mean, maybe I am a witch. I wish I was a witch. Then I could give him the evil eye. And she like goes right up to you with her eye.
Back off him. What we said it was up to fair. What's happened? Has someone got up near the stones at solstice when they shouldn't have done? Everyone should know that.
No, everyone knows that. But let's see if Gamma Greenoff does know anything. I wonder if I might make you roll with composure instead of presence here, just to hold it together in the face of Gamma Greenoff's slightly mad eccentricities. And it sounds a bit like Valerie might be doing this one.
Yeah, can we support each other? I don't know, that's the mechanic that in this game.
It's not
or is
really
no,
a mechanic for that. But it's classic PBTA. That's not really a thing that you do for it.
Just checking.
When you roll badly, Edith might be able to save you bacon though.
Yeah,
that's always possible.
Well, I've continued rolling that's my fifth one in a row now, which is statistically unlikely, but has happened nonetheless.
Oh,
lovely.
Ouch.
Let me just she says yeah, I'll just let me focus and see how far I want to go with this. I think it probably has to be quite a big miss, doesn't it? And she says kids always going up to the solstice. So they're always going up to the solstice. Not knowing that it demands sometimes its cost. It demands a sacrifice. And we hear a and as you look around, suddenly Trevor's not where he was, and she's got him bundled up and is like pacing backwards. Maybe it's got one now. He's a nice doggy, isn't he? And she's backing away with Trevor.
Don't you dare! I'm going to take out my knitting needles, put them against her throat, and say, take one step back with my dog, and these will not be used for a sweater anymore.
Okay, that's a night move, I think, because this is a dangerous thing you're doing. You're doing something risky or facing something you fear. I don't think you're afraid of it, but you are doing something risky. You need to name what you're afraid will happen if you fail or lose your nerve, and then I tell you how it's worse than you fear.
I think that she will, snap Trevor's neck.
I've got to make that worse now.
I've got to make
it's play with PBTA veterans here, isn't it? So yeah, I think she will sacrifice Trevor there and then. Let's get that content warning in as well at the start as well. Let's edit that. And it will be a sacrifice, so it will also have like a cult significance to the whole sort of village. Gaz, sorry, you were going to.
Yeah, I was going to offer something else, but it might be even darker. So I don't know whether we're edited or not. But it could be that she snaps Trevor's neck, but he doesn't die, and then it's up to Edith to have to put him out of his misery. That will make it worse. I'm not saying that's the thing we should do.
Make it worse. I think I'm going to.
I think yours is better with the theme of the game.
Yeah,
so
I think
we'll have that rather than excellent. Dark places. So you're making probably with. I think this could be vitality or could be composure. Actually, you could roll with composure. And your knitting needles are a cozy item, aren't they? So you're rolling with advantage to do this.
Yeah. So I'm rolling with advantage, which means
so you roll 3d6 and you get the last. Remember, Gaz rolled 3 1s last time you did this, though. So,
and that's the biggest. Yeah.
No way we can roll another lot of 1s, is there? That's like impossible.
Yeah. Yes.
That's okay. Do you have a composure bonus?
That's yes, +1, so it's a 10.
It's a 10, so it's a full hit. Okay, so you do what you intended, or you hold steady. You can describe what it looks like, how you rescue Trevor here.
Yeah, so I do what I sort of do what I intended, which is hold with composure. I am prickling her neck with my needle to the extent that there is like a little bit of blood coming through, and we lock eyes. And I'm like, sort of, this is my dog, back off, Batty woman. And then she sort of drops him on the floor and he whimpers and comes behind me. And then I put my needle down.
Excellent. And I think she definitely backs off there. And you see there's a sort of slamming of the door and a bolting as she retreats to her farmhouse now. I've added her to the suspect list just as an NPC that you may wish to consider in the future, potentially. Okay, and so what's your plan now? You're a little bit behind the search party, but I mean, you could try and catch up, or you could just charge out on your own.
Well, after I've recovered myself a little bit, because even Valerie's taken a little back by this, as Edith's swiping the blood off her knitting needles.
I turned to Valerie and I said, "Look, I'm very sorry, but don't mess with my dog."
Look, I know I was asking you who was going to look after you. You're like really keen on keeping Trevor around now, but I didn't think you'd go quite so far with it. Oh, my poor heart. Well, okay. Look, we've kind of lost the others. I don't think we can go trip too out of the dark. There's all kinds of like rabbit holes to put a foot down and snap an ankle or something. But people keep talking about these standing stones, and they seem like quite an obvious place to go. I can see them up there on the hill in the moonlight, so maybe we should go there and have a look, because there's no point in like scouring the moors looking for a dropped hanky or a sock or something. Like let's go to where we think there might be something useful to look at.
Yeah, unless Trevor takes us to a scent. But yes, let's head for the stepping stone.
Oh, of course, yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Trevor's just like this way and that at the moment. Did he get there? He's very much a side character in this investigation. And you get to the standing stones. I think it is just maybe at dusk. You get on the hill, and the rest of the search party you can see are just cracking on torches. Look, we'll assume you've got torches as well. It's the kind of thing that you'd carry for this kind of thing. And you can see it's just a sort of normal like ring of small standing stones. It's not a very impressive sort of like there's not an information thing or anything. And it's something that you might not like. It looks like it was probably placed there years ago, but there's nothing sort of interesting about it. And possibly nothing of interest there, unless you find something, which you would do by doing a meddling move there to search it.
Well, I'm going to use my reason, and I'm going to look at this and work out that, because I've been to Stonehenge and I've been to other places, and I know the layout of ancient cultures and how they used to build things here, and maybe there's something different about this set of stones, or maybe the kids have been meddling with it and I can see where the moss has been rubbed off rocks or something like that, or maybe there's something else, some other telltale sign. So I'm going to look around and see if everything is as it seems, or if there's some suspicious clue that might actually stick out once you give a maven's eye over it.
Fantastic. Do you want to roll with your reason?
I'll certainly try. A mighty 7 this time, which is vast improvement on the usual.
Okay, so you find a clue, but there is a complication. So yeah, the stones are unremarkable. There's no markings on them. There's not really anything around them. But as you're sort of wandering around, the two of you, sort of beyond the stones, on the side of the villages, you notice there's something different about the grass. And actually, there's a whole patch near one of the tributaries that flows into the stream where the trees and plants are all sort of withered and dry, and there's like dead leaves on the ground from it. So you have found a clue, which is a blight affecting trees and flowers. But the complication is, I think, as you're, with your green fingers, you examine this and touch it. You then sort of like dry your hand off on the leaf of a sort of healthy tree, and as you do, you notice that leaf goes sort of brown and crinkly as well. So I'm going to give you the condition blight touched at the moment, and you feel a sort of chill as your hands, so used to giving life to plants, seem to be doing them. While this searching is going on, Edith, you notice that one of the search party is almost upon you, if you see what I mean. And you hear a sort of shout up towards you and says, "Hi there! We're not meant to go past the stones. The policeman was very, very clear. We're not meant to go past the stones. Hello there?" And a torch gets shone in your face, so you can't sort of see who it is. He says, sorry, Dev Prasad, Mountain Rescue. Well, I'm not on duty now, but I thought I'd join the search party." And you see a sort of dashing young man with a well-trimmed beard. He's dressed, in contrast to the DC in his brand new hiking gear. This guy's dressed mostly in sort of tweed and sort of old school mountaineering gear that belies his young age and the kind of thing that you would think his like father or grandfather might have had. But it all seems to be in really good nick. It says, Dev Prasad, I just thought I'd help out. Are you okay? Did you become lost?
We're here walking our dog and trying to see the sights and the stones, and why not go beyond them? Why would it be a problem?
This is well, you see, the likelihood of the girl getting much beyond the stones is unlikely. It's much more likely she's gone missing somewhere in the vicinity, or of course got a bus into a nearby village or something. Not that the buses don't stop at 4 p.m. today, most days. So it's unlikely she'd have gone any further. I mean, the weather's pretty good, but we don't need to worry too much about exposure. It's hardly Everest, is it? But yeah, much more likely that she's on the moors somewhere. Or I mean, I guess could have got trapped in a cave.
There are caves here.
Says, oh yeah, Nemesley's riddled with them. All under hard to find entrances that you can get in, but don't know. That's why you should be careful. You and your friend. There's little holes in the ground you can fall in. It's been a while since it's happened, but there's probably old wives' tales. But there's a big cave system under Nemesley. I've got the survey back at my house if you want to have a look.
Oh. Yes, of course. Yes.
But anyway, I suggest you get running along now, because it's quite dangerous out here, and the search party will be all turning back now as it gets darker, I think.
Well, shall we go back with this young man, Valerie?
I can't whack my hands on my. I sort of like, you're back with the young man. I just thought you had passed. I said find someone. I didn't mean. Well, you work quick, don't you?
Well, everybody keeps dying if they're old. So, if somebody's young,
Well, that's hard to argue with. I'm convinced. Let's go. I could do with a nice sit down and a cup of tea as it happens. So,
It would be good. Come on, Trevor.
Okay, and as you set off, I think Dev is quite clear. Let's put him on the suspects list. Dev is quite keen on getting you back to safety. But Edith, as you set off down, Trevor starts yapping again. And it's like that time when he has actually got a scent.
Ooh.
And he's pulling you back away along the moors from there.
Wait. Valerie, he's found her. Come on, take me to her, Trevor. Come on.
No, ladies, we really must come down. You must be coming down here. I must insist. And you must come back to the village. It's not safe here. It will be fully dark in 12.5 minutes. And by which time we need to be on the road back down to the village. So we're not under. I don't want. I couldn't in cold conscience let you go off just because your dog's got a bit excited. Now come on. And he actually takes you by the hand. And says, "Come on," and starts to like, so we better get back to it. It's no place for a lady like yourself.
Young man, we need to do our work first, pleasure later. We'll come and find you at your place and we'll have a nightcap.
Absolutely not. And then he thinks about it and waits for you to make the move that you're going to do to try and escape from his safe clutches. This is still a night move. So yes. Alina, what are you afraid will happen if you fail to go here? And remember, I've got to make it worse. So how bad you.
Yes. Yeah. So I'm afraid that he's just going to grab me and not let me that we were going to lose the scent.
Yeah, I think he's going to. I'm going to make it worse in that he's actually going to this is a mountain rescue. That he's going to take safety very seriously, and the idea of two elderly women out on the moors. Actually, he'll actually manhandle you, to the point where it'll make a bit of a scene, maybe, and some other people on the search party will come and see, and you'll be sort of known as troublemakers again.
If we're not already,
yeah. So yeah, do you want to roll with? It might be. I think. Well, how are you doing? It sounded a bit like presence as you were trying to talk you out of it, but you could also do vitality to try and sort of just physically break away from him.
Well, they're both the same,
yeah,
0, so it doesn't matter. Okay, so roll 6. Ooh.
So yeah. Remember, you can put a crown on to undo this, and we will undo it properly. But what we see from that failed roll is he says, "Look, I really must," and he grabs your arm and really wrestles you. There's a shout. Trevor starts barking. Valerie, you probably get involved as well. But this very fit, very similar man says, "No, completely," and he blows a whistle. And then very quickly there's men running. People are coming out from the village because they think the girl's been found, and they just find these two dotty old women embroiled in this sort of arm wrestling thing with a mountain rescue man. And it is clear to everyone involved that he is the sensible person here. Particularly Valerie, you're still covered in sort of mud and trucks. It looks like you've had a fall down here. And Edith, your dog's going crazy and pulling. I'm like, well, I don't know if she can look after him. She doesn't seem to be able to handle him. And there's a great big scene from there. That's what happens. If you want to undo it, you can put on your crown of the Queen, or actually within this mystery, there is another crown you can put on, which is the Crown of Flowers. Which both of you do, actually, if you want to do it, where you both narrate a scene of the first time you fell in love. So it's up to you, though, if you want to do that, or you want to leave this scene of chaos of you being back in.
I would like to. So what does the Crown of the Queen do? What do I have to narrate?
You need to narrate a flashback of your. Well, there are a few options. They're on the character sheet. We've had. The top one is a flashback of your fondest memory of your late partner. A few other ones are a flashback of your fondest memory with one of your children.
Right, yes.
There's a few of them. So you can pick one of those, or you can narrate you can both narrate the scene where you first fell in love, not with each other, like separately in the yeah when you were
So
young.
I think I will do the Crown of the Queen. Look, being married for 40 years means, especially with a man who's used to some authority in his job, means having to do things your way while convincing him that you're doing things his way. So she is thinking about all the times when she sort of slyly suggested something, and then husband Trevor rather than dog Trevor, was like, "Oh yes," stuff, and she would be like, "Oh, but you had such a great idea of going to the park. Wasn't it
Oh
great
yes, I
that?"
did. Yeah.
So with that, I think she will backtrack, and she will just turn around and say, "This is such a brilliant suggestion. I think we should go back home. I am just concerned, as your task is also to find the young girl, and time is of the essence. You're the sheriff told us that the trail will go cold, but of course it is up to you to make the decision."
Yeah. I love it. I love a flashback to a number of scenes in Edith's life of persuading Trevor to do things by convincing him it's his idea, and using the same charms on Dev, who's like, yes, actually, you're quite right. I mean, you two should definitely run along home, but you're right. I should contact, and I insist I continue the search. I'm sorry, ladies. I know you want me to walk you home, walk you back to the village, but you'll be fine. You can see the street lights there, and I will continue the search some more. I'm sorry. I know it's not what you wanted, but I will do that. So it is though at a there does need to be a complication or cost to it, and I think I'm going to just make it really simple. I think Edith, that he did start to sort of manhandle you. And I think there is he did sort of grab your bad wrist, your knitting, you've got knitter's wrist or something, has flared up a little bit, and you can feel that. So you've got a you've just got a let's say sprained wrist, something, and see if that has a condition. As you sort of wince as he pulls away, but he makes his way down, and you're able to sort of pretend to go back to the village and then follow Trevor's scent. And I think at that point we'll take a quick break, and then we'll edit out, so our viewers will only see a few seconds, but we'll go get refreshed, get sorted, and go for the second segment of our investigation. Okay, see you soon. And welcome back. We are investigating the hills above Nemesley, a missing child, and our two brave mavens have managed to give Dev Prasad of the Mountain Rescue the slip, and are sneaking off following Trevor's. Well, he thinks he's got a scent of something. So, Edith, are you letting Trevor sort of guide the way, see what he's found?
Yes, absolutely.
This sounds completely like a meddling move to try and find some sort of clue in here. So I think you're at advantage because you're rolling with Trevor, if you see what I mean. And then I don't know if tracking is maybe reason, I guess. Trying to make sure he goes somewhere sensible. It could be
my reason or
sensitivity.
Trevor's reason?
We haven't fully started up, Trevor, so we'll roll with yours for now.
Great.
You've got advantage there, so you've got 3 dice to work with this.
Roll with Trevor is not a thing I thought I was going to hear tonight.
Yeah.
So that is 11.
Oh, fantastic. So you will find a clue without a complication. Okay, so Trevor takes you to one of the many streams that dot these hills. and he sort of he comes back with he's just pointing his paw at a something that's in this stream, and as you sort of bend down and look, it's like treacherous banks at the side of it, which, as if that would have been the complication if you hadn't rolled as well, that you'd have fallen in. You find in this stream a teddy bear floating face down. We'll leave it undefined as to what it's wearing or what it looks like so far, but you're able to sort of fish it out and have a look at it and see what it is, as that is what Trevor has found. And this stream obviously goes further down into the village, and maybe into the cave system that you've heard about. What's your plan now? It is properly dark now, and I think that the search party, most of the search party, is being sort of called off back to town, where they might go for a quick warmer up in the pub, the Green Man. So what's your thoughts? What are you planning to do to investigate further?
I think we should go down and mingle with the locals and find out what kind of rumours there are. And then maybe tomorrow, if we've time and everything, perhaps go to the caves when it's light.
I'm thinking of going and getting that OS map of the caves. That's
excellent. Well, I mean, you could both do that. You can
Yeah.
be chatting to or chatting up Dev, and getting his local knowledge, while Valerie goes to mingle with the locals in the pub, and see what's what with it. Shall we start with the pub as you go in? So as you go into the Green Man, it is the mood is obviously a little subdued, as the sort of polished wood, gleaming brass. There's quite a few locals in here. It's one of those pubs where all the staff are sort of teenagers and all the patrons are 45 and older, if you see what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
And there's not much chat going on. Everyone's a little bit dull and stuff, and it's like they've just come in for a drink and to warm up in front of the fire, as they're sort of shaking their heads and saying, no, I didn't find anything. It's the Green Man. It's got like a carved sort of pagan image outside of the Green Man. You notice as you go in. But yeah, there's a few people around. There's Onslow is having a pint there and going around. You also see a quite trying to keep the spirits up. There's a lady of slightly younger than yourselves, maybe 50s, with an immaculate perm, is trying to sort of keep everyone chipper, as she looks around and is talking about the festival still, and that we mustn't let it ruin everything. You also see sat on his own, there's a sort of long blonde fading to silver hair man just sat nursing a pint in the corner, who looks a little bit out of place here. He's not really talking to anyone else. No one else seems to know everyone here. So what's your sort of approach, Valerie?
I want to speak to the organizer. Well, I've got myself a gin and bitter lemon, and look with distaste that the slice of lemon's gone off, little realising that it's my own blighted fingers as I was moving the drink round that caused it to go a little bit sour. So I'll just flip that into an ashtray, and then I'll just go over to her, seeing how immaculate and beautifully well dressed she is in my grubby state, and just kind of like slap her on her shoulder-padded shoulders, leaving a little handprint on the back, going, "Oh yeah, you look like you're in charge here."
Oh, I wouldn't say that. Violet Arkwright, pleased to meet you. And you might be? As she gives you a polite little...
Valerie Dalrymple, I don't mind if I do. And I'll give her like a overly firm handshake. And now then, you and I'll get more unfamiliar and press myself up against her, so there's like bits of riverbank that are pressed against her nicely. The press seat. You and I know that it's us ladies who get things around and get in charge. And I don't know what all these men are playing. I was out. Did you come out with us looking? I came out with them looking. And all of them, they were all over the place. They didn't know what they were doing. They get each other's way. They're telling us what to do. Now you and I both know that it's us that get things done here. So why don't you tell me? Why don't you tell me what's happened?
She looks a little bit abashed at you pulling up to her, and you notice that she has, she's all in pastels. You do glance and notice that there are some gardening gloves in her in her handbag, though, there, and she does. She's clearly involved in the organisation of the flowers. Do you want to make a meddling move? I think this is probably the best way. We'll just go straight to this to see what she can tell you, what you can find. So maybe with presence to try and.
Okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm looking around and there's been like the Edgar Wright kind of like quite like screens of zooming in and zooming out stuff, and I look at all the different photos of people who won the various village fates or flower shows and all that kind of stuff. Oh, you're in the club. I see you like gardening too, and I'm going to display my commemorative medal that I got about best blooming shotgun. Are you a fellow bloomer? Oh, well, us bloomers have to stick together and rope that in so I can get an extra die to get on.
Excellent. Go for it. Go for it.
My word. So I get a 7.
Okay. So there's you find a clue, but there is a complication you encounter while searching. So yeah, Violet is like oh yes. Yes, you're quite right. I remember the years where the horticultural club and the floral committee tried to work together. It was an absolute nightmare. Those men in the horticultural club, they haven't got a clue. Not like us in the floral committee, of course. We know what's what. And as you press together, you know she's got her beautiful sort of rose that she's got mounted on the thing is just slowly fading as you're near it as it folds up. It couldn't happen at worse time. This disappearance. It's just in the middle of the well dressing ceremony. It's such an important part of local tradition, and of course it's terrible that the girl's gone missing. I'm sure she'll show up sooner or later. You know what kids are like, though, don't you?
Yeah, you have to pull together, don't you, for the greater good. I find in these sorts of situations, it's good the community's coming together at least, so that like, do you all know each other? I mean, are there relations amongst you? Like, I don't know who knows who here. Like, perhaps. I mean, I hesitate to say that you might be married to Sergeant Onslow or something like that. I'm sure you've got a much better husband.
Spills out the gin and tonic. Just, of course, we're not quite like that here in the although we are a tight community. We steer close to, some people would say we steer close to the old ways, but it's just keeping the crafts going. You'll see over there, the little corn dollies and stuff that we carve. It's just it's nice stuff to keep things alive, isn't it? And she gestures over, and there's a sort of by the fire. There's some there's propped up some corn dollies, and then you reach over and turn one over and find it has a single feature on it that identifies it very clearly as being a corn dolly of Edith. You can decide what that feature is.
It's got attached to it a pine needle, which at first just looked like it's another bit of the other floral stuff that's been on, but I noticed it's been distinctly carved to look like this particularly sharp knitting needles. So although to a careless glance it just looks like a bit of pine needle, it's actually been whittled in minute detail.
Indeed, yeah. And as you see it, and as you look at the other corn dollies in there, you get a sort of chill passes over you. Some of them do seem to bear an uncanny resemblance to people that you sort of flashbacks of walking past on the village. There's a few of the children. There's one that's got a like wide brimmed hat on it that you try to look at, but you just have to look away, as if you're looking at your own sort of likeness. It can't be at all, but you have to sort of, you find it quite. Are you quite okay, dear? You seem a little beside yourself. Have another gin and bitter lemon.
It's because I've got all these layers on and we've got this roaring log fire here. I'm quite hot. Oh, I might have to have a sit down somewhere and get to catch my breath.
She doesn't. She gets you a drink. So I'm going to give you a condition. Maybe spooked. The discovery of that clue. Sure. It's sort of been a corn dolly identified as a maven or suspect. So feel free to narrate what that's important is when you come to do it. Okay, so you're sitting down, catching your breath after your slightly shocking revelation with Violet Arkwright. Edith, you were going to meet with Dev, so let's cut to his study, where he has poured you both a glass of brandy, perhaps, and has got maps laid out, sort of one over another on this big table, and he's showing you where the tributaries go and what the cave systems are. What's your approach here to try and find out some stuff? You're muted as well, Alina. Sorry.
Typical. So I am going to play it softly and sort of be a bit admiring to his skills while asking questions in that sort of, you know, oh, you're so smart, like, and how do you know all these places, and have you been here all the time, and do you know the girl, and do you know what she's up to, that type of.
Yeah. And he's saying he doesn't know the girl. He's not that. He's trying to steer the conversation to just be about the sort of topography of the land and the cave system, because he still sort of believes that that's what you're interested in, and that that's why you've come. And he's showing off he's got his sort of Monroe books and his commemorative ties and all the sort of mountaineering paraphernalia mounted above here. So, yeah, I think as you're trying to maybe butter him up and get him to reveal a little bit more that might be useful to your case. Again, do you want to make a meddling move? Maybe with presence?
Yes.
That seems to be the right thing.
Yep. Right. 9.
That's lovely. So you find a clue, but there is a complication with it. Yeah, he's talking about the hills. He says, oh, the funniest thing, with it. It's amazing around these hills as well. There's a sort of strange atmospheric phenomenon as well, like the aurora borealis. Sometimes you see like little dancing lights leading you towards the streams. It's to do with the humidity, I think, at a certain time of year around the solstices. I thought it was just old wives' tales, but I saw it myself. What you see, and he sort of rigged up this little demonstration, is as the water evaporates, the moonlight will reflect on it and will produce these sort of entrancing patterns. It really is quite beautiful, Edith. Perhaps when this is all rolled over, I should go and show you them.
Ooh. That would be charming.
The complication I'm going to actually just hold in reserve for now, if you see what I mean. So you've got dancing lights. I'm going to just put luring the unwary. Okay. As your clue. Okay, so you found out your things that evening. Is you were talking about probably just got time to maybe visit the caves in the light. So unless there's anything else you want to do before that, we could sort of flash cut to that. So yep. The two of you setting off. Valerie, are you going the? I think there's a route to sort of the public way to the caves that are viewable. That's sort of an actual path with wooden slats on. Of course, you've got a secret entrance as well. Which way are you going to be going, do you think?
Well, while we've had breakfast, we'll set out the maps and look. And I think we've managed, between us, we've managed to work out a way of meeting up. So if Edith goes with Trevor in the public way, and I'm going to try and go via the secret way and see if we can meet up in the middle and work out what's going on.
Excellent.
But remember your profits. You have to be careful.
Yes, of course. And you make sure Trevor doesn't get in trouble. We don't want him to break his neck or anything.
Okay. So your secret entrance that you're trying to use to get into it is quite like narrow and low, and it's in this slippery riverbank that you yourself like nearly tripped over those vines before. So clambering down into these caves is going to be a risky move, using probably vitality. What are you afraid will happen if you fail or lose your nerve?
That'll be somehow physically compromised. I won't be able to protect Edith, ultimately, is what I'm afraid of.
Excellent. So like a broken ankle or something. That sounds about right. And I think we'll put it on this roll, because Edith, you're going the public way.
Yeah.
So if this roll works, you'll meet up together. If it doesn't, then that's what will happen. But there'll also be we'll cut to Edith then trying to having to resolve this. So go ahead, Valerie, make your day move with probably vitality.
I get a 7.
Oh, the almost disappointment from Alina there that you haven't actually failed that one. So your actions are going to leave you vulnerable. You can choose to back down or go through with it. I think you can get in this way, but it's going to be quite difficult to get out. You have to you realize you're going to have to sort of clamber down this actual stream. So you're going to be soaking wet in this cave with these slippery rocks behind you to clamber out, which would certainly make it a lot harder to do that. You have a moment where you can choose whether to go through and clamber down here or retreat. These are things that like someone could fall down here very easily.
I think I'm planning that I'm going to go out via the normal exit anyway. I'm not going to have to come back up. So I'm just going to grip my dentures and think, well, I probably don't have to climb up this way anyway. Not really worried about if I get lost or if it doesn't actually meet up with the main entrance or something like that. I'm just going to plunge in and try to find a way through. Okay,
and you emerge sort of wet and muddy again. Immediately, first action you take it each day has left you covered in mud. And sort of on your hands and knees, you're able to crawl and meet. Edith, you go around the public way and are able to get into a site. I think you meet up. We'll have you meet up. Maybe there's a sort of viewing gallery of one of the chambers, and Edith, you're at the top, and Valerie, you're at the bottom in the bit that's all fenced off. There's lots of sort of like danger, risk of landslides and stuff up at your end. Edith, it's up to you whether you tell Valerie about those. You're sort of able to hold the conversation above the water that is rushing. There's lots of pools at the bottom as you are both in these caves. It is clear as well as you hear that this is a massive network of caves. You can see, both of you can see other routes going off. Edith, they're sort of fenced off or chained off to stop people going down them. There's a couple that have been boarded up as well, but you can tell these must run, and you know from the lengthy explanation that Dev gave you that these run all over Nemesley from that. So you were able to meet up in the caves.
Well, my hands on my hips looking up at you from the bottom.
Can you see any drippings of candles?
Well, look, it could be something. Let me have a look around. Oh, where's my torch gone? Right, here we are. Let's have a look. And I'll start looking around, see if I can see any signs that people have been holding meetings here or some of this shenanigans has happened.
Excellent. That is definitely a meddling move. With very obvious complications should it go wrong. So probably with reason if you're searching this place for meetings.
Hooray! At last. So many tries and tribulations.
Fantastic. Your
dice
12.
It's a full 12.
Your dice luck appears. So yes, you do indeed find a clue. I'm gonna give it. Oh no, I'm gonna have to resize my window. Wait, will this do it? Oh yeah, just yeah. As you're searching, there's no sign of any meetings. There's nothing really on the line. Lots of stuff's been washed off. But you do find there's a dry area of wall at one end, and you can see that it's had painted in sort of red paint on it, some Latin text. And as you look at the paint a little bit closer, like you've seen this before from your other investigations. This is painted in blood on the walls. Somebody has been inscribing some sort of thing in Latin on the walls there.
I'll get my rubberized cased camera out, my phone, and take about 5 selfies and try and work out to make it go the way around to take the phone. Yeah. And then in the end, like, just give up and have myself in the picture. So I've got like the picture of there's my little face with the wide bridge hat in the bottom corner of it.
Yeah, things keep popping up on like Google Translate to try and like translate it into something useful, and you're just
ignore.
Yeah, Google goggles keep going in. Okay, and you find this while this search is going on. Edith, what are you up to in the public part of the cave?
So I'm going to have a look and see if there are any sort of side, side chambers that have anything that's out of the ordinary.
Excellent, excellent. Yeah, again, let's see. We could probably have a meddling move for that. See if you can find anything interesting here that might be relevant to it.
What am I rolling with?
I'd probably reason again. That's the sort of searching thing.
Right. That's 11.
Oh wow! Again, another clue. This is fantastic. Right. So yes, you do indeed find, as you're looking around, sort of hidden almost from the public things behind one of the fenced off areas, you find just a coil of damp rope, as if somebody has left that there.
And it's still damp.
Yeah, still damp.
So I found the way to come down, I think.
Yeah. I think I think this might be the point where you're able to actually clamber down into this echoey cave, and you maybe have a chance to combine your thoughts and theorize as to what might happen and whether you can actually rescue Ash from it as you sit down, pour a thermos, and theorize. If you're ready for that.
Do you have any more of your gingerbread cake?
I got my secret stash. Yeah, go ahead. I'll pull out a bit more gingerbread, and then we'll find 2 rocks that we can sit on to talk about what we think might be happening.
Excellent. So yeah, you're able to sit and have a little picnic in the marked off area of that.
Yeah, it's probably a cliff overhang, so we can hear people coming and looking and chatting about the cave and stuff when we get underneath it.
Yeah.
Right. Well,
it's very clear that we have to start with the usual suspect, the village witch. I mean, she tried to kill my dog.
You see, I'm glad you've started there, because I think she's the first one that we can discount. It's clear that she's Sergeant Onslaugh's mother, and he never listens to her. And always gone off doing some things like going for non-traditional ways, and she's tried to stick to the old ways. Well, she's trying to think of a sacrifice, but was trying to take the dog. I mean, poor old Trevor. Now look at me snuffling about for crumbs on the floor. That's who Gamma would have taken to commit the ritual. But obviously, there's other people with stronger heads who've taken a child.
If she had the child, she wouldn't need a dog.
Exactly my
So
point.
I agree with you.
Yeah. So we can discount her. And I really don't think Sergeant Onslaugh's got it in him, frankly. He'll have cast aside those old ways that Gamma went on about.
So a couple of things to clarify. The first thing is the question you're eventually trying to answer, and this will take you there, is where is Ash? Okay, you may within that have who's done it. And the other thing, I've got to point out that Trevor nearly dying isn't a clue. Only the things that are written on the sheet are clues. Other things that happen are not. Well, I mean,
do you understand old lady conversations? We've got to go all the way around the houses to get to them.
Yeah, you can include them, but they don't give you a bonus. So yeah.
They're not. It's not a clue, but it is still part of the story.
It's important. It's a thing that happens to us, and we need to talk about it.
The most traumatic thing that's happened to you so far. Yeah.
I mean, would a 12-year-old have a teddy bear?
Not. You wouldn't have thought with her, would you? But if someone had taken an item that was dear to the 12-year-old, as some kind of fetish or something for witches to use, to curse her or to draw in, maybe they took that from her house, and that could have been what brought her here. Maybe she didn't come willingly.
And then you have, of course, the candle with the human hair. Is that hers?
That clearly was Ash's hair. When you told me about it, I thought it must be. but she must be here somewhere because it's not quite the solstice, is it? It's the period. But if we find her before tonight, then perhaps she can still be saved. And where else could you stash her? But somewhere in these caves. That's the moors will be scoured and nearby villages will be alerted. But if you kept her within the cave system, then that'd be the place to put her. She must be around here somewhere. She might even be listening to this very conversation through the echoey caverns.
So to locate her in the caves, can you bring any more of the clues in? At the moment, we've got the teddy bear and the candle. So you'd be rolling at -2. So if you can bring in any more, however spurious links that those things, you can think about how you're going to try and find her. If you can incorporate those clues into it, that would help your theorize move.
Yeah, well, of course, there's the blight that's affecting things. And it will be at the worst point of this, where it is most virulent, that the sacrifice will be having to be keeping the girl, I imagine. So if we can follow the blighted flowers and the disease, then the worse it gets, the nearer we'll get to. I think that'll be the way to track her down and where they're holding her.
I think the way to track her down as well is through the dancing lights. I mean, this cave is damp.
Clearly, the dancing lights are the souls of the other children that have already been sacrificed, trying to help us and guide us towards poor Ash, so that we can save her. I suspect Violet Arkwright's behind all this.
Yeah.
We'll see. So you've got 4 clues so far. Any more for any more? Or do you want to roll your theorize and see where it is?
I mean, I'm the only other one I've got really that I wanted to use is the Latin text.
I mean, you can decide what it means if you finally manage to translate it or get you to translate it. A lot of these are open, so you can interpret them however you want. So you can work out what it says if you like.
I mean, you had a private education.
Well, you see this particular package here, nil secundus, never second, and I saw that it was spelled out in hyacinths in the 1976 winning photo from the Village of the Year award in the pub. Yes, all this is about not coming second, always being first, and at any cost.
So somebody who cares very much about this well-dressing.
Indeed, and there's no way that Violet Arkwright would be such a good horticulturist, or indeed bloomer of flowers, with her impeccably mannered style. Not a speck of dirt on her. A secretary still had the price tag on from the shop. God damn it! There's no way she could be winning awards.
You told me she had a perm.
Indeed.
I mean, if she's a gardener, where does she find the time to set her hair?
Well, precisely, Edith.
Okay, so what's your theory about what's happened? That Violet has taken her to sacrifice? She's
Yes.
being held in a cave somewhere?
She knocked her outright with the candle and dragged her into the cave. And on her way out, she somehow lost the teddy or something. I don't know the teddy.
The teddy was discarded somehow from that.
Yeah, and all the years that Violet's been doing this, there's a cost that's been hidden. So she's been having beautiful flowers and blooms everywhere, but the decay from that's been held away. And now the sacrifice hasn't taken place, it's coming back. But if she can make this sacrifice, maybe that'll restore things again and hold it off for another year.
Lovely, lovely. That's I make it 5, I think, clues that you've incorporated of that. I don't know if you're like the candles, the teddy bear, the blight, the dancing lights, the Latin text. I think.
Yeah, I mean, the other 2 we've used during the story.
The hidden entrance, yeah, you sort of use that to find, and the rope, yeah, you sort of use. Okay, do you want to roll? So you're rolling. This is a standard roll. You can't get advantage on this. You're going to be rolling +1. Edith, do you want to roll?
Yes.
And basically on a hit, you're going to we'll narrate finding Ash, but there might be some complications with it as well.
I'm just going to roll some dice just to see what they would have been. I mean, I'm not. Just don't want to make you feel bad, but I'd already used all my bad luck up, you see.
Okay, I mean, there is a way that you can put on a crown if you all put it on to boost that.
Yes.
I'll narrate what happens with that. If you first, and then we'll rewind in time to where you set off to find her, if you want to put it on and do it. So your discussion as you're just coming together is interrupted by the flash of torchlight and a rush of Sergeant Onslow and DC Akinde. And we see her. That's them. It's them. They must have the girl. What are they doing in the caves anyway? Clambered down like this, clearly up to them. What's that? There's some text up. There's some text on the wall. And we see you being not just handcuffed, but actually driven off for questioning. While behind there, there's Violet Arkwright, looking very pleased that you've been taken away in her stead, and said, I knew it was someone with green fingers. I could count on it. From there, as you are arrested, and ashes as the sacrifice continues.
Terrible.
So if you want to undo that, you can void clue it. You can sorry, not void clue it. You can crown it. You all need to narrate to the crown, and it will boost it to just the near miss, if you see what I mean. You all have to do the same crown. So you can choose one of the crown of the queen, or you could do the special crown of the flowers and narrate when you first fell in love. So I'm talking myself, decide what to do. Or you could leave it as that and leave on a down note as you've both arrested.
Let's crown it. Let's have a good.
Like an apposite one seems fondest memory with one of our children, possibly.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Yeah.
Does it have to be the same crown? The same thing?
It does.
Yeah, you both have to do
Yes,
the same
okay.
one. Yeah.
Or it could be showing how
But
we were
is it-
an
is it-
imperfect daughter ourselves or something. I mean,
No, but is it like, if we do the same crown, is it the same flashback scene, or
No,
is it
no,
different?
you both do different flashbacks. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
what do you fancy, Edith?
Or-
What type of scene?
So I want to do a scene in the present day showing a burgeoning romance.
Okay. I will attempt to join in.
Okay, you go first. You go first, Edith.
So I think as we are, sort of heading towards the inside of the caves, it is dark, it is treacherous, and at some point we feel to be walking around in circles. We don't know whether we're heading towards sort of any place of that we've seen before or not. We don't know where she is. It's such a vast complex, and Edith just loses sort of hope and turns to Valerie and says, we might not even be able to get out of here, but just to know that I'm with you, that's where I want to be.
And Valerie will clutch your hand in hers in the darkness and say, I told you to find someone else, but I just worry that we've got so little time left. Can I allow myself to be hurt again? But now I realize here, with the seconds ticking by, that we have to make the most of what we've got left and hold you in an embrace.
Oh,
That's beautiful. And you got a success, but with a complication. Now, this can mean another obstacle to overcome, but I think actually how I think I'll do it is that embrace happens, and then there's the yapping of Trevor, and there's a sort of what's that, Trevor? it's over there, and he sort of leads you away, and you find a little hidden bit of the cave and a terrified 12-year-old girl in there, and you're just able to sort of pour her some tea and start sort of getting her to safety, and the one last bit of Grasmere gingerbread to it, and you make it way back to the main chamber with her, where then there's the flash of lights, there's the commotion. They said, "There, I knew it was them. They're from out of town. I knew they'd done something with the girl. Look, they've got her here now. Quick!" And Violet's like, "Yes, you better arrest them straight away, officer." And we see the police descend to obviously question you and hopefully find the truth and clear your names. But we'll never know, as Violet Arkwright holds a lot of sway in this village. Thank you for playing with us. That was lovely. Always with Brindlewood Bay, you don't quite know how it's going to go, but we did manage to rescue the girl and explore some of the mysteries of Nemesley. So thanks for watching. Remember to like and subscribe, and keep an eye out for other videos. If you want more of this sort of more narrative, freewheeling style of game, feel free to put it in the comments, request it, or get in touch with us. But in the meantime, we'll sign off, and we'll see you for the next game in a couple of weeks. Thanks to our players, and thanks to you most of all for watching and listening.